Hello, my fellow classmates. So, for this week's quotes from Chapter 5, the first quote that I chose was "Learning to adapt is a fundamental principle if you want to remain in business in the 21st century." And that quote was from the CEO of Mitchell Group, which was the introduction to the chapter, Miss Elise Mitchell. Um, what I think she's trying to say is that in order to be successful in business, you have to be able to adapt because business is consistently changing. I would argue that even in the past, it was important to be adaptable in business. What this means to me is it's just kind of a reminder that if I get stuck in my ways, it'll hold me back and not let me be as successful as I could be. Um, I tend to be kind of a rigid personality. I like to follow routine. And so I can see where this might be a struggle for me. I don't necessarily like change, especially if it's forced on me. But it's an important lesson to remember that even when it is forced on you, adapting is the best way to get through the process. So the second quote that I chose for chapter 5 is one characteristic of the workplace that is both a benefit and a challenge for leaders is that no two people are alike. And I think simply what they're saying is that everybody is different. What it means to me, or kind of why I picked it, is I like that we're different. I think it's important to honor the differences that we have from one another because those are the things that make people a good team. If everybody was the same, it wouldn't work as well and nothing would ever get done. So it's a good thing that we're different, and I think it's one of the things that I enjoy in the workplace is learning like what little people's quirks are and what makes them tick, and then adapting. Like if you know that somebody's super sensitive, that's not the person you're going to go to and be like, hey, when you do this, it makes me mad. Um, so learning the differences between people is kind of what the quote meant to me. Um, Moving on to chapter 6. For the first quote for chapter 6, I chose one of the most important relationships that you have at work is the one that you have with your manager or supervisor. And I think what they're saying there is simply um, the person, the manager or supervisor is the person who has the most power over your ability to advance and grow. And so it's important to remember that. What it kind of means to me is, well, right now, I'm not currently a manager or a supervisor, but I plan to be. And so being able to foster those relationships once I reach that position is not only important for me as a leader, but important for the people that I'm leading. I think it's important to take the time to get to know somebody on a personal level, but also to remember to balance that and be task oriented and get the work done that needs to get done. And I find that if you are amiable and you try to, get to know them a little bit better, I think it says a lot about how you feel about their success. And so that's kind of why I picked this one. The second quote that I chose for chapter 6 was, in many ways, workplace conflict is like a disease. If it goes untreated, it becomes contagious and it infects others. And I think what the authors are trying to say here is that the best thing to do with workplace conflict is to confront it and find a solution to it. Kind of why this spoke to me is I'm very conflict adverse. I don't necessarily like conflict, and oftentimes I will let things slide in the workplace. Um, and that is a good thing too, because then you're not always complaining. But on the same hand, knowing that I'm conflict adverse, I need to be hyper aware of the fact that it's better to treat the problem than to let it fester. And I totally agree that it's like a disease. I had a boss one time who used to always say that negativity is the same thing. And I agree. The more negative people you surround yourself with, the more negative you become. And so it's important in the workplace to be positive and to manage your conflicts, in a way that's productive and not demeaning or belittling anybody, but letting them know so that they can fix the problem, because in the end it will just fester, because you'll go to your friend and you'll be like, so and so did this and so did that, and that's how it's contagious and that's how it spreads. So those are my quotes for this week. I thank you all very much for your time, and I hope you have a nice week. Talk to you soon.